The Honeydew with y'all. Thank you for your support. Here's Ryan Sickler.
Welcome back to the Honeydew with y'all. We're over here doing it in the Night Pants Studios. I'm Ryan Sickler, and I can't thank you enough for supporting this show. You guys are the diehards, and I know it, and I genuinely appreciate seeing this community grow and grow. I fucking love my job. I love this show, and man, y'all have not let any of us down. So if you're new here, thank you and welcome. If you've been here, hey, thank you as well. And if you want to save some money, if you're in for the long haul, you sign up for a year, get over a month free. It's $5 a month. You get the Honeydew a day early ad free as well at no additional cost, all right? If you or someone you know has that story that has to be heard, please submit it to honeydewpodcast@gmail.com. You don't need to be a Patreon in order to do the show, and the story doesn't need to be yours. It can be someone else's. Introduce them. That's fine. Look, you know, I love highlighting lowlights, and I love bringing light to the darkness, and some of the episodes get really dark, and some tend to be a little lighter, and I'm hoping this one here ends up being a little bit of the latter side. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Honeydew with y'all, Zech Johnson, everybody. Welcome to the Honeydew with y'all, Zech.
Some guy. Hey, buddy, what's happening?
First of all, we were talking before we were recording, and you got some Maryland ties to you. So how's that now?
Oh, that's thanks to my dad. He was a civil engineer he still is. And we got shipped up to Maryland, in like 2006, 2007, right sort of when the recession was happening. And that was kind of the last sort of stronghold that he could find work. And so we ended up there. We had family up there anyway. And finished out high school, a little bit of college at Towson University. Do you know where that is?
That's where I graduated from, bro.
You know Towson?
That's where I graduated from, bro.
Well, you know, I got to give a shout out to our other alma mater, to UPS Hub in Baltimore, Primary 1 Joe Avenue.
You worked,
both worked.
What year did you work there?
2008, 2009, 2010.
Okay, yeah. Shout out to UPS Baltimore Hub, Primary 1 Joe Avenue.
Beautiful place.
I just drove by when I was there.
Did you?
Yeah, man.
And
that's
Violetsville?
Yep. Yeah. Dude, all right, let's jump here. We got a lot of stuff to talk about because you sent an email in that I literally had to write back, is this shit true? And you're like, yeah, it's true. So
you did? I was flattered at your quick response.
Well, when you see shit like this, your fucking shit said that your drink was spiked and your mom tried to fuck you.
Yes.
Zech, I mean no offense when I say this, but you look like a guy whose mom would try to fuck him.
Well, you know.
All right, well, before we get into that story, it sounds like there's some sordid tales that lead up to this, so why don't you take the reins?
Okay, well, I guess to give that some context, I mean, yeah, I'm from Georgia originally. I'm sure you can tell.
I hear it.
If I say enough words, you'll hear it very clearly. My parents were together only for about 3 years. Dad was in the military, Desert Storm, and Mom was pretty much just a gold digger from the get-go. I mean, my dad even admits it now. He's like, I shouldn't have married her. Everyone told me not to. You know, at the time she thought she looked good, she was nice, they went for it, and it wound up being a complete clusterfuck the whole way. I mean, he's off in Iraq doing whatever, and my mom's at the military base writing checks left and right, running up debt, even to the point to where, you know, Dad's in a foxhole and he's getting radioed that the provost marshal wants to talk to him about bad checks that are getting written in his name and bouncing left and right.
Nah.
You know, that's like, yeah, I mean, and that's, I think he's told me that's like the chief of the military police is looking for him about, hey, there's a $300 check in your name. Hey, it bounced. We need to talk. And that's what my mom was doing. And so my dad gets back from overseas, finds out there's tens of thousands of dollars in debt. I mean, and all she's doing is buying dresses and shoes and going out with people, you know, not really the right type of people either. And so, you know, long story short with that one, at about age 3, they split up.
Are you an only child?
By them, I am.
Okay.
With my biological mom and dad, it's just me. I've got two half siblings from my mom with a different guy.
Okay.
Who, let's see, my two half siblings are collectively about 8 and 5 years older than I am.
Okay.
Their dad was married to my mom, and then in 1987 came out gay and said, we need a divorce.
All right, hey, you know what?
And that's in Chattanooga, Tennessee, so that was a big of a stretch
that
back
was
then.
87.
Yeah, boy. And so that they split, but they stayed close in kind of a weird way. So I guess when it's that sort of an arrangement, it's like, well, I can't be mad at you. That's your heart. That's your feelings.
Yeah.
Let's go from there. So I've got those two. And my sister, I call her my sister, whether it's half or whatever. She's just,
it is your
we
sister.
share blood. We're
Yes.
there. She plays a mildly pivotal role in our later story. So, my parents are getting divorced, and it comes out, my mom's running around on my dad. She's hanging out with other dudes and the whole thing. And we get into court, which I don't remember much of. I mean, I have one distinct memory of being in the court annex with my great-grandmother and just sitting on a bench, just hanging out while they're over in the next courthouse just tearing each other apart. And from everything I understand, my mom was just a shithead. To the point that her own family was testifying against her in the courtroom. Like, no, she's not a good person. And I was even told that the judge said that if my two half-siblings were my biological siblings, he would have taken them away from her and given them to my dad. So my dad got full custody of me.
Okay, he did. I was going to ask.
Yeah.
But how was, let me ask you this, even though she may be a bad person, how did she treat you? Was she nice to you, though, or just neglectful maybe and all that, but was she abusive in any way? Like,
well, I'll put it this way. So my dad got full custody of me, so my mom got visitation every other Sunday. And just for Sunday afternoon. That's all the judge would allow her.
And was it supervised?
No. Because what would happen would be my mom would come pick me up Sunday and then drive me about an hour and a half north into Tennessee with where her family kind of was, drop me off at her mom's house, and then leave directly and go hang out with some guy the whole afternoon, come pick me back up. And
so you're just hanging out with grandma, not mom.
Well, no, I hung out at her house. Grandma ran a convenience store about 3 miles away, where if we got bored,
so you're just being dropped off. I got.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Where if we got bored, we'd go down there, and this is the kind of convenience store. Back in the day, the back room had a pool hall, gambling machine, smoking, the whole thing. And so if we got bored, we'd go down there, and she would just tear off scratchers and let us just sit there on the counter, just winning $2 a piece. And can I win this? No. Okay. So it was that. And that all kind of came to a head when I was about 5. And so this was one of Mom's times where she would drop me off, and sometimes she would stick around, sometimes she wouldn't. Just whatever was on her mind at that time. And it was sometime in the summer, I forgot when, but drop us off, she goes doing whatever, so me and my siblings, we go out in the backyard, and there's a creek running in the back, and so we're hanging out just doing summertime country things, playing in the creek and whatever, and unbeknownst to me, mosquitoes are starting to get on me, which, it's the South in the summer, go figure. But my mom comes back, okay, we got to take you back home. She gets me in the car, and I can tell even by the look in her face, something's, like, she's kind of giving me this wild-eyed kind of look. And she's like, well, let's just get you in the car and let you get you home. And I was like, okay. So I'm in the car, and on the ride back, which is, again, lengthy, I'm slowly just kind of getting sweaty, and I'm getting kind of woot, and my head starts spinning, and I'm not feeling good. We get to my dad's house. She's there for all of about 30 seconds. She gets out just fast enough to get around the car, get to the door, open it up. All right, here you go. Here's your bag. Here comes my dad out the door. Here he is. And then shoves me kind of to my dad, runs back in the car, and leaves, which I thought was weird. And so my dad's kind of like, all right, well, bye. Don't say nothing. And he looks down at me, and his face just goes white. And I was like, Dad, are you... I'm 5. I'm like, Dad, are you okay? And he didn't say a word to me. He scoops me up, puts me in the car. Next thing I know, we're at the hospital. And we're in the ER, and he's doing all this stuff, and we're back in a room finally, and the doctor comes in, and they're kind of in a corner talking, and I can't hear, and I don't know what's happening. I'm 5. And come to find out, much later in life, what had happened was my mom left us outside so long that mosquitoes just tore me up. When my dad finally got me to the hospital, the doctor stopped counting at 250 mosquito bites.
Holy shit!
Yeah. And that's on a medical record. I can't make that number up. They stopped. They literally said 250 plus and just did a thing. And they were terrified that I had, malaria or West Nile, or I don't know if that was around them, but some disease from mosquitoes. Like, and I'm getting shots in the butt. I'm getting the full workover. And I was sick for several days, just sweaty and the whole thing. It felt like I was in Africa or something, but they finally got that straightened out. And so, 2 weeks goes by to my mom's next visit. And she shows up, picks me up, we go off. This time, she stuck with me. Like, she was there around, engaging, the whole thing, which, at that point, I thought that was weird. I was like,
different,
oh,
yeah.
You're here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's fine. And I remember on the way back to my dad's after visitation, we stopped at a Kmart, and we went for the blue light special, and they had one of those Lego pirate ships, the big, 1,000-piece units that were like $100-something bucks. Bought me one of those. That was great because I love being, play with them in the, bath or whatever. And we got to my dad's house. She drops me off. Dad, he's out the door. He's waiting for her to show up. He comes out the door. He says, "All right, here's your stuff. Go inside. I'll be in a minute." Okay, so I go inside, and the way our kind of house was, you'd come in this sort of door, and there was a big picture window, and I kind of looked out the picture window at them, and my dad, you being a dad, and myself as well, that look you give somebody when you're about to tear them a new one, like he has that look on him, and he's giving it to my mom, and he's just, I can just see he's just red, he's getting furious. Oh, Jesus, like, okay, whatever, I'm going to go inside. Like, I don't know, I don't want to know. And that was the last time I saw my mom.
Ever?
For 23 years.
Holy shit.
That was it. And at the time, and I distinctly remember the next 2 weeks went by, I stood at the window to watch for her car to come, didn't come. Next 2 weeks, didn't come. And I was like,
At what point?
That's weird.
What point do you talk to your dad about that?
When I was 18.
So you just looked until you never asked? Your dad never said, "Hey, she's not coming," or he wasn't sure if she was.
Well, when I talked to him when I was 18, because in the state of Tennessee, whoever loses custody has to pay child support. Mm-hmm. Mom quit paying child support. Like the last time she showed up, that was the last time she brought a check for child support. So before I was 18, she owed me like several hundreds of thousands of dollars in back child support. And right before I turned 18, I talked to my dad about it. I was like, should we go? That's a lot of money. That would put me through college. That would do a lot for me. Should we go after her and get this? And he's just, she'd go to jail before she'd pay it. And I was like, yeah, okay, well, fine. Because really at that point, he knew her better than I did. I was 4 or 5 when she quit coming. So I was like, okay, well, forget that. And then I sort of let it stew for a minute. I said, Dad, why did she quit coming? Like, I just kind of let it go because on my dad's side of the family, we had such a tight-knit group with like my aunt and uncles, grandparents, great-grandparents. We were all like right there with each other. So we didn't think about it, or I didn't think about it. And he finally just like, well, I said, do you remember that day, the last time she showed up? I said, yeah. He said, well, I basically went out and told her that, I found out that she was dropping you off and running off with, because she, even sometimes I do remember there were some occasions Dad would let her have me for the weekend, but it was, here, Mom, bye, and go off with guys for a weekend. He's like, I know what you've been doing. I know who you've been running around with. I got it. It either A, stops, or I'm going to go to the court and tell them what's happening, and you get no visitation, and you'll never see him again. Your choice. And she made the decision to not see me, and just ran off, and decided she was going to go live her own life, and, cross her fingers and wish for the best for me, I guess.
And how long is that the gap between that her leaving and you seeing her again? 18 years, you said? Something like that?
Like 23.
23 years.
Yeah. I was close to like 27, 28 till I ever saw her again.
How did that come about?
Funny story. So, after Mom disappears, Dad really kind of sinks himself into work because he's a single parent. He's got to do his thing. And so he really pushes himself, and he becomes, I don't know how he did it. He was doing 8-hour days at work, coming home, taking care of me, and then staying up till like 2 or 3 in the morning doing night school to just keep getting more education. And he finally became like one of the senior project managers of a major firm here in Atlanta, where I live. And by the 2001, 2002, where the housing market was going crazy, and that was his specialty. He was doing those Sun Cities, those massive housing complexes, 100 home kind of places. And he started to get phone calls from people in like San Jose and all these places, like, hey, you never heard of us, but we've heard of you. What would it take for you to come out to California? And I remember being in his office one day for one of those calls, and I heard him distinctly say, like, oh, I knew he was joking. He's like, oh, it'll take $150,000, pay my moving expenses, and set me up with an apartment. And they just said, done. And I was like, Dad, are we moving to California? And he's like, I think we are. And so we do. We lived up near Sacramento for a while. We lived there for about 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
And then we moved to Maryland because that's when the recession kicked in. And it was kind of like a big wave that hit the country, and we just went as far away as the wave as we could. So we landed in Maryland, kind of rode that out, and then I moved back to California myself, met a girl, and we got married. And at that point in time, I was like, hey, let's see, Dad got laid off from his engineering job, and we both decided to go in and start a remodeling business. Because we both know that industry very well. And in a time when people can't sell their homes, what do? They keep fixing them up so they stay together. That's pretty common. And so he's like, well, hey, if you move back, because we're moving back to Georgia for, they were doing it for several different reasons. If you move back here with us, we'll just do this company thing and we'll just run. I was like, sounds great. I'm in my early 20s, I don't really have a particular career path yet, so remodeling, great. Yeah, that's big money. Let's go do that. So me and the girl I married, we moved to Georgia. And, I guess keep in mind, through my middle school, high school, and even out of that, any girl I met or dated or whatever, and I met their family, what's the first question? Well, where's your parents? Because I'm living in California by myself. Where's your family? Well, my dad's, wherever. I don't know where my mom is. And then, the tirade of questions about whatever. And so we got
So let me ask my question here. You never bothered to even try to look her up, locate her, none of that? You just didn't give a shit? Your dad as well?
I don't know about what Dad did. I think even at like an early age, I basically resigned myself to the idea that if you don't give a shit about me, I don't give a shit about you.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that sounds harsh, especially when you're talking about your own mother, but it's like, the more I kept thinking about it, it was like, wait a minute. You just ran off. No, I'm talking no contact, no Christmas cards,
Nothing.
no birthday cards,
Right.
and zip. So I'm like, you cut off all contact with me. I got nothing for you. You know, if you want to get in touch with me, we'll talk. If you're not, we won't. So I just kind of let it go. And again, I had such good family and a network of friends. I didn't feel like there was anything to. It's like that. What's that? You don't miss what you never had.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't remember having a mom. I remember having a grandmother and an aunt and a great grandmother who were, I mean, so sacrificial and like right there for me for anything I needed. I was like, I'm good. I've got what I need. You just keep on doing you. So once we got back to Georgia, my wife at the time, she kept kind of poking at it. Like, hey, we're back in the South. Why don't you look up your mom? I was like, I don't want to. I got no desire. I literally have no desire to. Okay, well, why don't you look up your siblings? Because they didn't do anything to you. I mean, it's worth a shot. I said, okay, I'll look up my sister. And I found her, what was she doing at the time? I think she was like a hairdresser or something, which I don't know if there's a more southern cliche of a woman doing being a hairdresser, but that's what she did. And what was it? I ain't gonna say what the place is called. People will look it up. But that's what she did. And I found her on Facebook and just kind of hit her up one day. And I was like, hey, I don't know if you remember me or not, but I'm kind of your brother. So
I'm kind of your brother.
Kind of your brother. You know, our parents kind of fucked at one point. So, you know, well, no, that's not true. Never mind.
Her dad fucked your mom, right?
That's it. Christian times that. Don't ignore that. Anyway, but yeah, so she
He's telling you to fucking timestamp shit. It's Kirsten, man. Don't make the mistake
Kirsten.
I make. It's Kirsten.
That's right, Kirsten. I sincerely apologize. Kirsten, timestamp that. Anyway, so I hit her up, and about a week she responded. You know, hey, how are you? How you been? That kind of thing.
And how old are you at this point?
26.
I didn't ask you the answers of the questions at the beginning. How old are you right now?
30. I'll be 32 in a month.
Okay,
so latter part of 31.
26. How old's the sister that you hit up? Is she older or younger than you?
Older.
Okay, she's older.
Everyone I have in my, I've got step siblings right now. Everyone's older than me.
Okay.
I'm the youngest, and yet in my step siblings, I was the first one to have a kid. So that was kind of funny.
Okay.
But that's a whole different thing.
So you look her up and you connect.
Yeah, very, very slowly. My sister had a lot of trepidation about getting in touch with me because I think she was afraid that I had a lot of animosity or resentment build up towards that side of the family, which I genuinely didn't. I was just kind of doing it out of shits and giggles, really, because I was asked to. And so we finally back and forth, and agreed to meet for dinner one night at a place up in Chattanooga where she was living, and got to the restaurant. She saw me, and you know, she's just in tears. I mean, she's just, and the way she explained it to me later was that she felt like I was that lost part of her life that she didn't know if she'd ever gonna get back because I mean,
nice.
we had no contact. It was really nice.
But if your mom was a better person, she could have simply told her how to get a hold of you or what easily.
We found out later. My dad worked in Chattanooga for like about 8 months or a year or so, right before we moved to California, and we lived in an apartment complex, literally a mile.
No.
A mile.
Isn't it amazing that you could do that for a year and never run
like
into
Tony Hinchcliffe.
Yeah, right.
I was like,
but you could never run into her at the grocery store or any of that shit. It's crazy.
No, I went to...
As much as you bounced around, you guys did live within a mile of each other for one full year. That's nuts.
Yeah, and genuinely, if we hadn't... here's one. If we hadn't moved to California, my sister and I would have went to the same high school.
No.
Yeah.
Whoa, that'd have been fucking wild.
She would have been a senior, I'd have been a freshman. But yeah, we would have went to the same high school.
And not even known it though, right?
Initially, no, not unless we'd have run into each other in the halls. Of course, I don't know if I'd have wanted to really anyway, because the middle school I went to up there, the building was over 100 years old. And there was this apparent fun game that kids like to play, especially in the boys' bathroom, where they would see how long they could take a piss or a shit in the toilets without flushing them. And just see how long, see how long there would be left. And I'm like, y'all, this reeks. Yeah, man, but we're going on 14 days. Don't touch it. You're going to break the cycle. I was like, I think it's an okay cycle to break, guys. I mean, my nose is, I got a hair falling out from ammonia smells. It was horrendous. And I was like, if that's middle school, I don't want to see what the high school was, because that would have been a fucking shit show. But anyway, so I found that out later, and and according to my sister, which I take her at her word, she was constantly probing my mom, like, why aren't we in touch with him? Why can't we talk to him? Why this? Why that? And never really got an answer. We'd never get a straight answer. Probably got a bunch of roundabout bullshit.
So take me back to the first meeting. She was really emotional and happy, and you find out that she's been wanting this connection.
Yeah, I mean,
you were relieved, I'm sure, to hear that.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, you're not being met with "go fuck yourself, I'm not going to tell you anything." You know what I mean? You're being met with,
"Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah, you're being met with, "Man, I've been looking for you," or asking about you. That's nice.
Big open arms.
Yeah, I'll
just
bet.
Like, brother, where have you been?
Yeah.
And at that time she already had 4 kids, and so
wow.
And she had just turned 30, I think, 31. Already had 4 kids. She was one of those Panama City senior trip knock-up kind of situations. Which I felt so bad for her, because she had a scholarship to UT up in Knoxville for like a cheerleading scholarship. And then she finds out, whatever it is, how many weeks later after Panama City, she's pregnant and has to basically throw her entire college career away.
Wow.
Because she got knocked up. I was like, dadgum, okay, man. Whew. But yeah, her and her husband are a trip. But yeah, so she's like...
You're still in touch? You still communicate?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
What? How do you go from fucking being stoked to...
So, well, yeah, I'll jump ship on that one right quick. So, basically, they wound up... Okay, so the story we're going to get to, they bought that house.
Okay.
That it takes place in. It was like one of their grandparents' houses that they passed away. They bought it for sentimental reasons. That house needed like 80 grand worth of remodels. I mean, like new plumbing, new electrical, the whole thing. 'Cause it was built like in the 60s. And hey, your brother does remodeling contracting work. Why don't you call him? She didn't call me. Didn't ask me for a quote. Didn't ask me for nothing. Wounds up hiring some bum handyman who rips them off, like takes 30, 45 grand and just runs and doesn't hardly do any work. And who does she call to clean up the mess? This guy. And I walked in, I looked around at that, I said, you're still going to need like another 80, 90 grand. A, to fix what he messed up, and then B, to do it right.
It was that bad?
This guy... He did their tile backsplash in their kitchen, right? And so when he was done with the grout and all the mortar for holding up the tiles, what did he do with it? He goes to the bathroom and dumps it down the shower drain.
No, he did not.
Oh, yeah.
And fucked up the pipes?
All of it. The whole plumbing system is, 'cause it's like a 2-inch pipe, and so that much of it is covered in grout. It looks like a clogged artery.
Yeah,
I mean, it's awful. It's like somebody been eating KFC for 40 years in their pipes. It was fucked. And so I'm like, I'm sorry, you're going to need that. And she apparently got the impression that I was trying to, like, gyp them out of money and would never talk to me again. And just literally stopped talking to me. That was the story I got from her. She just literally thought, so you're just another one of those contractor types, and you're trying to take advantage of your sibling and just make off with a bunch of money. And I was like, no, that's just what it calls. I'm sorry what you saw on the DIY channel or HGTV, but you can't remodel a kitchen for $5 grand. I'm sorry, that's just not how it works. So it just became this whole thing, and gosh, I've not talked to her now in probably 2 years.
Damn, all right.
Like, and I was constantly like holidays. Hey, happy Easter, happy Thanksgiving, happy birthday. Our birthdays are 10 days apart. I'm like, happy birthday. You know,
No response.
The last response I got was thanks. That was it. And that was 2 years ago. And I said, well, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm not wasting my time. Just not. So, but up to that point, it was great. We hung out. We did a bunch of stuff. And so, to get back to your point about when did I first meet my mom again, one of my nieces does softball, like travel tournaments, the full thing. I mean, she goes all out, travels all over the country to play. At 12, I don't understand that at all. But we were at they were at one of the tournaments not far from where we lived, and she sent me a text and was like, hey, so and so's playing softball. Would you want to come watch? I played ball most of my life, softball too, and I was like, hell yeah, I'd come watch for sure. Get up there, and it's one of those all-day tournaments too. Like, get there at 7 in the morning, they're there till 5 at night. Which I'm like, I ain't fucking staying around for this. I'll watch a game or two. But we get there, and it's my sister's husband, it's me, and then her. And we're just kind of sitting there watching, we're talking or whatever. And I start noticing out of the corner of my eye, my sister's, she's texting a lot and kind of doing this shifty look over at me while she's talking. I'm like,
do you ask her, is mom going to be there?
Nope.
You don't, nothing.
No. Because
do you think there's a chance going into this?
No.
Nothing. That thought never entered your mind.
No, because we had talked about it. Not at that first meeting, but in subsequent meetings, we had talked about it. And she's like, how do you feel about talking to mom? How do you feel about getting re in touch? I'm just like, I don't not want to, but I got no desire to just, go out of my way. So we just kind of left it at that. And so she's kind of doing this whole thing, and I can see her doing it, but I'm not going to call her out. So I'm just kind of watching the game, and she finally gets up and says, I got to run to the car and grab something. Y'all, I'll be right back. And so she just goes off and leaves. And I'm, okay. Keep watching the game. And my sister's husband finally kind of looks over at me, and he's just, so, man, you think you're going to get in touch with your mom? I was like, I don't know. But, I thought about it. I don't know if I'm quite ready to yet. I don't know if I care enough. And he's like, oh, yeah, okay. Well, get ready.
Nuh-uh.
What? And he kind of gives me one of those nods to that direction, and I kind of look up. Some bitch, if my mom and my sister are not walking up the sidewalk towards us,
what are you feeling?
Hand to Jesus. Numb. Absolute numbness. Because I see a face that's my mother. I know it's my mother.
How? Pictures and stuff, or you really remember?
I remember because there is a VHS tape that I think my grandmother has of a Christmas, like 91, 92, of my mom in it. Now, mind you, this is 91, so she had buzzed up sides, really kind of curly. It was very 90s. And I remember that face from that video. I'd watched it a couple times I think I just did it just to remember who my mother was. Because after 20-something years, you kind of just start losing that thing. And and of course she's aged, not considerably, but she has a little bit. But I know that's who it is. And
do you look like her? Does she look like do you resemble each other?
My face looks like my grandfather.
Okay. My
hair is my mother. My dad's side of the family is black curly hair. My mom's side is kind of wavy blonde. And of course, I got blue eyes from her as well, so everyone thinks I'm an Aryan, but it's like, no, I'm just Scottish and a little bit of Cherokee, and we just leave it at that. But sure enough, here she comes with my sister, and I can see my sister's face, and I can tell she thinks she fucked up because she feels that tension brewing, and I'm like,
what's your mom's face? Is there a smile?
I don't think genuinely my mother knew I was there.
You don't even think she knew?
No. I think my sister set this up because she knew, I think maybe in her heart, that neither one of us were going to make that move.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I gotta do something about this. I gotta be nosy, if nothing else. And so, and the reason I think that is because Mom was kind of looking at her and talking, but not really looking at me. Because I would think if you see your son after 20-something years, you're just staring at him the whole way. Wasn't even looking at my direction. Just. So she finally makes the turn around the home plate.
And how old are you the last time you saw her?
Oh, when I saw her, 5.
God, 5.
Yeah, 5. And here she comes around the home plate behind the backstop, and she looks up and sees me. And I'm staring at her the whole way.
Hey, asshole, sit down. I'm trying to see the game.
Oh, motherfucker! Strike 2. If you don't sit down, you're out. No. That'd have been my grandfather if he was umpiring. No, but here she comes, and she looked up and made eye contact with me, and I made eye contact with her, and she stopped. I mean, dead cold in her tracks, just saw me. And my sister kind of like...
Yeah, your sister don't know what to do now.
No, that fucking OK Corral look, like, and I'm talking the Val Kilmer, kind of like, I'm your Huckleberry, what's happening kind of look, and Mom just kind of, and she kept coming, and so she comes over to the bleachers, and I see her get up, and I step down just whatever, and we just kind of stood and looked at each other for like, I don't know, 10 or 15 seconds, just kind of sizing each other up a little bit. And she just kind of held her arms out for a hug. And I was like, yeah, okay. And so we had a hug. And
what was that like?
I hated it.
Yeah.
Hated it.
Was it like hugging a stranger, or what was it like? Or did it feel good and that's why you hated it?
No, it felt, I'm trying to explain this it felt like a betrayal to myself.
Man, I know exactly what you mean.
You know what I mean? Like, it felt like I gave fucking Satan a hug or something. Like, it was just like, it's like the Pope giving Satan a hug. It's like, I ain't supposed to be doing this, but we're here, so let's just whatever. And so we did, and let go, whatever. And she sat down beside me. And the one thing, and I've talked to the wife I moved back to Georgia with, we split up, and I'm with my current wife and daughter and everything, and our life is monumentally better. But the one thing I talked to my current wife about, because one thing we bonded about was shithead mothers, because her mom was just batshit crazy. Kind of like Yola, his mom, that was very similar. But she told me herself, her mom's already passed, and she said, when your mom passes, you'll feel like a part of you's died, or you've lost something. And I was like, I don't know about that, because I just don't feel that kind of rapport with my mom. I mean, you stuck around with your mom. Your mom was around, but she was a shithead. Mine was a shithead and just left. I don't know what you feel. But... And I remember her telling me that, and I remember saying to her, I said, well, maybe, but the one thing I will always hold against my mother, and even to this day, she's not done anything, she never said sorry. She's never said sorry. She's never apologized for walking out. Even when we sat down for the first time in 23 years, there was no, I fucked up. My bad. I mean, even something as simple as that, just, no. It was just, well, hey, how are you? How's everything going? You doing good? How's work? Everything's going good for you? Okay, great.
She asked about your dad?
No. I don't believe she did. I don't remember her asking about him. Because she was, at the time, I think maybe still is, she was with the guy that she left my dad for, who she was seeing when they got divorced, because... whenever we'd go on some visitations, we'd go up to his house, and I remember her dropping me off at his house, and he's an interesting guy. He sells taxidermy animals. Okay. Like, he goes to like Africa, kills leopards, cheetahs, rhinos, whatever, and
that.
sells. Fuck him. He's an asshole. But I remember distinctly he would take us to like gun and knife shows at trade centers, and that was his idea of chaperoning us. Yeah. Oh, it was great. Oh, it was great. And we'd go to like the whatever trade set, the Camp Jordan Arena in Chattanooga, and he'd sit there and go, "That 30-06 right there. That puts a big fucking hole in a cheetah's head." I was like, "What?" And he's like, "You gotta make sure you get your real sharp knife. You gotta." And he starts like telling us how to like skin an animal. And I'm like, I won't say his name. I'll call him. We'll call him Sean. I'm like, "Sean, I don't care. I'm 5.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
not going to skin an animal. Maybe a squirrel, but a cheetah, no." But anyway, so we just sat there and chatted for like, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes.
What stands out the most in that 15-minute conversation to you?
No regret. That she showed absolutely no regret about her decision.
Does it hurt you to know that she had a child that she kept and loved and everything, that she's literally capable of being a mom
3.
to those 3 kids? It's not like she's shit to all 4 of her children. She's shit to 1.
Me, yes.
So does it fuck with you to know that this person had parenting in them and just decided you weren't the one?
Yes, you will. And I think you need to fucking quit. Can you shut the fuck up about that nonsense?
That's what I do, man. That's what I do.
We're here to highlight the lowlights, baby. Not Pants Nation tour. We're coming to Cincinnati, Ohio, January 20 to the 22nd. Oh, that's Kansas City. Sorry.
I don't know what it is. I get my dates all run together.
You ain't coming to fucking Atlanta. I know that.
I'll be where I'm working on it.
You better fucking come. We just won the World Series. You better get down here.
You sure did.
So anyway, but there was, and that was the thing.
No regret, no remorse.
No regret. She the 2 biological kids from her first husband, she kept and loved and held on to, and then the guy she left my dad for, he had a son, her stepson, who she just open armed, and that was it. And I found out later when Sean, her then husband, would go on these trips across the world to get animals, he would take her, and they would take the kids with them. So all my other siblings have been to Africa, South Africa, Thailand, across the world, doing all this stuff that I'm just like, okay, cool.
I'm going to Dollywood.
Motherfucking yes! Yes, going to Dollywood. I'm going to go to the Dixie Stampede and sing those racist anthems. Good God. No, my dad, I'll brag on him a little bit. He went out of his way that whole time, like when it was just me and him, to make sure it did not feel empty. I mean, like, even at like, what were we? We were 9 years, I was 9 years old, and we drove to Toronto to go to the Hockey Hall of Fame, because I was huge into hockey for several years. And then I turned 12, and I'm huge into music, and then what does he do? He just books a trip, and we drive to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, and we actually have this tradition. My hat says it all. We go to Pikes Peak in Colorado every 10 years up to the top and take a picture, because we lived in Colorado Springs when he was in the Army, and when I was 1, he took a picture. We were 11, and so on. We just did it a few weeks ago, and it takes me to California, and then. I was in the Boy Scouts as a kid, and through his military connections, he gets us into like Kings Bay, Georgia Naval Base, and gets us tours on like nuclear submarines and all this. Wow, I mean, it's amazing the stuff that he was able to do on a shoestring budget. I mean, poor as
a single parent too. Think about all you're able to do with 2 of you. It's a lot.
Yeah, him and my family are just a marvel to me, and I could never thank them enough for everything they've done. But
he sounds awesome. Now tell me about your mom trying to fuck you.
So your dad's cool, not cool enough. How's mom doing? How's them titties look? Let's talk about
Yeah, your dad's like, let me know how she was.
Okay, so we'll circle around to that. So
wait, let's go back real quick. You have this conversation. You sit there 15 minutes. So what happens after that? Like, as far as the two of you go, do you communicate? What happens next? Okay.
Yeah, Mom got the phone number, and so we're texting, not like super regularly, but maybe once a week, every odds and end. And I distinctly remember the text she sent me after that. We hung out for maybe 15, maybe 20 minutes, and then I just felt too weird, and I left. I was like, I'm gonna go back home. I don't know, because we kind of sat in silence for like 10 minutes. It's like, I'm just gonna go home. I can't do this. So did that, and she sent me a text later that evening, was like, gosh, it was great to see you. I love that you're doing well and that you're starting a family. Just skipping over 23 years, just right to then, and just, it's great. Like church lady, it's so wonderful.
Yeah.
You just have a wonderful life. Let's just talk about that.
We're jumping up from kindergarten to now. We have nothing's existed. Yeah.
Nope. Like nothing ever happened. And so we kind of put it along. And so that was like April of that year. I get a text in June from my sister that says, hey, just a heads up, at the house that they bought and kind of screwed me out of money for, they're like, hey, at this house, we hold a big 4th of July party every year. And we got a pool, trampoline. We can invite everybody in the family who's close by to come up, and we blow it out and just have a big old time. Because they're kind of up on a mountain, so they can do fireworks and the whole thing. And I was like, yeah, okay, and up to that point, nothing weird had happened. We're all pretty amicable. And so me and my wife at the time, we go up there, and I think we got there maybe about 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and it's not just family at this place. Not anybody I know anyway. And we kind of get there, and it's one of those just redneck scenes. There's cars in the yard, and there's a motor hanging from the tree. I mean, it's a really sketchy looking thing. But we roll in, and we're like, okay. And we get in the house. I find my sister just to let her know we're there, if nothing else. And I was like, hey, it's an awful lot of people here. I mean, is this really family? And she gives me that look like she's already in a mood. And I was like, what's going on? She's like, you've never met Mom's alter ego. I was like, Mom's alter ego? And she's like, yeah.
I mean, you hardly ever met Mom. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on. Yeah.
Mama. We're going to meet Mommy, We're going to learn some differences here. And so she's like, come in the back room with me. I got some stuff I got to talk to you about. I was like, okay. And so we get back in there, and she's like, okay, you got to know just right now, Mom's an alcoholic. Mom does coke. Starts like laying this. Mom does this. Mom does that. Mom hosts orgies. Mom does this. She's
whoa.
Oh yes, like just laying this heavy stuff out on me. And like Mom's already had like 4 DUIs. She's in court all the time trying to get this stuff worked out. And I'm like, okay, but why are you telling me all this? And she's like, okay, Mom has an alternative personality when she gets really drunk. And I won't say her actual name, but her alternative ego name is Vicky. And when Vicky shows up, it's a shit show. It's anything can happen. You just need to hold on tight and just ride through it. And I was like, okay, fine. I'm like, is Vicky here now? I felt like I was talking to like a possessed person.
Yeah.
Is Vicky here now? Can we talk to her? And she's like, no, Vicky's not here yet. But she said, Mom, did I email you that picture of the alcohol bottles?
I think you may have. Yeah.
I think I did. Yeah. If you find that and look at it again, that was like one of Vicky's weekends where it's like 6 Smirnoff bottles and just it's just this mound of bottles, the empty bottles. And I was like, she's like, well, no, Vicky's not here yet, but she's coming. Like Mom's already tore through a handle of Jack and she's already on a thing of Patron. Vicky's coming. So if you stay, if you go, it's up to you. I was like, I looked at my then wife. I was like, what do you think? She was she went to UC Sonoma, and she's like, I was in a sorority. I did frat parties. We're good. Like, we'll hang. I was like, okay. And so we got into it and whatever. And at the time when we showed up, there was probably 35 people at the house. Well, as Vicky started a churning, she started calling people. Hey, I'm up at the house. We're having a party. You should come up. BYOB, by the way. Do your own thing. So I just start noticing more and more cars start pulling up in the driveway. In about 2 hours, we counted about 200 people.
Holy shit, Vicky.
It was about 200 people. Vicky had connections.
I was gonna say, I don't know. I'd love to be able to pick up a phone and get 170 people out to a fucking stand-up show. Let me get Vicky on. Maybe Vicky should do my fucking marketing.
Hey, if you do Chattanooga, Vicky will show up and bring some motherfuckers to your show.
Give me 5 minutes.
Vicky, you here? Let's roll. But yeah, so she, I mean, it was like, 200 people. And it's not just friends. I mean, these are people that she would meet in bars, that she would meet at these really divey, the kind of people you go to the bathroom and you do stuff that's illegal in 4 states. I mean, one guy walks out with a saddle and a set of jumper cables, and you don't know what just happened in that bathroom. But it's these kind of folks, and you can tell some of them are tweakers, some of them are just drunks, and I mean, it's a wild menagerie of folks. But the one person who showed up, who should not have showed up, is what do we call her? We'll call her Maria. Maria showed up, who was Mom's kind of
alter ego. Vicky's alter ego.
it's Vicky's Dr. Hyde or
Okay.
Mr. Hyde. I mean, it's her wing woman kind of situation. But Maria, I almost said her name. Maria's MO at any party, bar, house, whatever, is she's a shit stirrer. And you know those people at a party that all they want to do is show up, say the right thing. Hey, a bit of a rumor here, a bit of a thing there. So and so said something about you, and just what's it? You remember that old Dane Cook joke where he talked about shitting on coats at a party?
I don't remember now.
Remember that? He had this great joke. I mean, it's one of his first albums, like 03, but he had this joke where he was like, if you ever want to leave your mark on people, what you need to do is show up at a party, whether it's one of those fancy parties where there's coats and a coat check, go in the room with all the coats, shit on the coats. And then you leave, don't say anything, and then somebody comes in and discovers there's shit on the coats, and then your role is to just creep in right quick and go, I hope it's not on my coat, and then you slip out again and you don't do anything. But that's the kind of person she was. She'd go in and shit on someone's coat and then just wait for someone to find it and just kind of go, oh, someone shit on your coat. That's wild. I wonder who. Probably Todd. Todd's behind that coat. And that's all she would do. And so this particular instance, she decided that she was going to play bartender for the entire party. And the kitchen kind of had one of those little islands that kind of jutted out into the thing. It was a pretty wide kitchen. And when people would show up, they would just bring bottles of stuff. So this whole island is getting filled up with Jack Daniels, Patron, Bacardi, I'm talking handles of stuff. No one's bringing beer. They're just bringing liquor. I don't know that's a Southern thing. Beer's for pussies. I don't know what this part is about. But it's like, here it comes. And I would sort of swing by, and I would just slowly watch this thing grow. And here she is just like by the sink, and she's making White Russians and, orange juice and vodka and screwdrivers and all that kind of stuff. So as I found out later, there were a couple guys that Vicky had invited to the party that she was trying to get with that particular evening. She was just on a tear and thought, well, this is the night. I'm going to get in, Teddy Loon's pants or something. You know, we're going to
Getting Teddy's pants. That beard probably turned her on, man.
Ooh, he's from Chicago, the South Side. You got to watch
Detroit.
out for that guy.
He's from Detroit.
South Side. You got to watch out for that man. He'll get you. That old crow training technique. You got to watch out for that. His blood was purplish.
Purplish. Tom goes, purplish. That's one of my favorite one lines. Purplish. Just a weird reaction. Purplish.
Where's my staple gun at? I'm trying to finish a gazebo. God damn. Anyway, so she's trying to get in the couple guys' pants or whatever that evening. And so her wing woman decides, and again, another one of her proclivities is to spike drinks. Not really roofie somebody to where you black out, you know what's happened, but she would put something, to this day I don't know what it was, in drinks that would kind of make you a little loopy, a little loose-headed, and you just would kind of go with the flow and see what happened. So she knew what guys Mom was after, which I think it was like 2 guys in particular, and she's like, okay, well, and she would keep an eye on them. Okay, they're drinking whiskey tonight, so I'll be, the good bartender and kind of keep, oh, you're empty. Here's another drink, and just kind of keep everybody well lubricated. And so she saw the one guy and was like, hey, you're out. Hold on. The drink, here you go. He's, oh, great, appreciate it. And I remember, and he's like, hang on, I need to go to the bathroom. So he sets his drink down on the bar and goes to the bathroom. I'm also drinking whiskey that night because that's just what I drink. I come up to the bar, and I'd already had a few, but I was, my sister had kind of told us earlier on that, hey, if you need a crash here, you're set. There's like 5 or 6 bedrooms, you're good. I was okay. So I get up to the bar, and I see this full drink just ready to go. And I'm thinking, hey, there she is. Drinks are ready, and she's just making them. Like, take what you want.
Right,
here we go. No idea what was happening. So I grab it, and I don't nurse drinks, really. Like, if I want to get an effect, let's get it going. And I downed this drink pretty quick. And so my then wife later recalled to me, she said, it took about 20 minutes, and you didn't look like you were doing okay. Like, you were just kind of really rocking in your chair. You're looking around like everybody was weird. And I don't remember much of it at first. And she finally said, hey, why don't you just go one of the back bedrooms, lay down, and just kind of collect yourself and come on back out in a few minutes or whatever. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll go do that. And so I apparently get up, I go to the bedroom, a bedroom, I don't know which one, and lay down. And I just kind of, spread eagle on the bed, just watching the world kind of sway and move in and out and not really know what's happening. And I kind of pass out. I don't know for how long. I never did ask that. But the next thing I remember was kind of a commotion and this weight kind of on my stomach midsection.
Are you cheating on your wife with your mother?
My mother's trying to get me to cheat on my wife. That's the point. Man, you jumped the plot. What are we doing, Ryan? God, Jesus. So I open my eyes, but it's still kind of hazy. You're not sure what's happening. And all I see in front of me is just this pair of tits.
Tits are out?
Tits are out. I'm talking not maybe 6 or 8 inches from my face. It's just tits. And my cognitive thought is, oh, my wife's trying to do a little something while we're here. All right, let's see. And I'm slowly trying to collect myself to get myself in that. Oh yeah. And then I start feeling my belt buckle kind of get fiddled with. That kind of
First of all, your mom already took her titties out, and your belt's not. She's not even got you undressed yet. She is ready to go.
Now, in all fairness, the room is dark.
It don't matter. Your mom's ready to go. Your mom's ready to go.
Mm-hmm. So, and I'm just kind of like, well, dang, girls get amorous. Let's see what happens. The next thing I know is I just hear the door wham slam open, and the lights go on, and you know that kind of feeling when you're dark from light and you're kind of stunned for a minute. And I kind of look over and I see my sister and my wife over her shoulder.
Oh my!
Just like, what the fuck is happening in this room?
Mate, you ever been at a fraternity or sorority party like this, have you?
Man, this is American Pie on steroids.
My
Stifler's
God.
mom was loose, and she was on the prowl. So, I don't. Admittedly, I don't see my mother. I just look over and see her, and all I hear her yell is, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I'm like, "Wait, there's her and my wife. Who the fuck?" And I look up, and it's my mother. Just
With her titties out.
With the titties out.
Holy.
That's
I can't.
so. And she's looking at my sister already. She ain't looking down at me. I look up at her. I'm like, oh, well. And Mom, I recall Mom saying, and she's like, "What the fuck are you doing in here? Get out."
She's not done, man.
Mm-mm. And my sister goes, "Do you realize who you're trying to fuck?" And kind of points at me. And she's like, "Yeah, Steve." And kind of sees me and goes, "Well, that's not who I expected, but I'm just here to get laid."
No. That's what your mom said.
I'm just here to get laid.
My God. What the fuck? Her titties are out. Her titties are out saying that shit.
Oh,
the lights on.
the lights are on. And more people are slowly,
of course.
starting
of
to
course. What the fuck's going on back there with Vicky?
Vicky, you done yet? My turn.
Holy shit.
Oh, yeah. Full on, just like, I'm just here to get
What do you do?
I'm paralyzed. I don't know what to do. Because immediately, my head's not all there yet. I'm still reeling from whatever Maria put in drinks. I'm like, is that my mother? That's my mother. What's happening here? And my sister's like, "You're trying to fuck your son. What's in your head?" Now, admittedly, when she's in Vicky mode, she's gone. She's 4 sheets to the wind. There's no mom left up here. It's Vicky. And she's just like, "Y'all bunch of spoil sports," and gets up off me, puts her shirt back on, buttons it, and just out the door, leaving me, belt undone, just in a tussle. Like, okay, well that just happened, and so my then wife, she's in. Shock is an understatement.
Yeah, of course.
She's thinking this is one of them Jerry's.
Your erection's not helping the case either.
It wasn't, Fuck a tent pole. That bitch was a flag pole, man. You fucking good.
I can't even.
Man, I was like, titties.
What is she saying? What is she doing?
Titties in the building. No. Let's see.
What is that?
What's that car ride
What's
home
that
like?
car ride home?
Fucking quiet.
Exactly what
We listened to a lot of motherfucking Gordon Lightfoot on the way home from that bitch. Let me tell you. Let's play the Bee Gees, the slow jams. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
Fanny be tender. Oh yeah, it was. That was a very interesting. But no, she handled it actually, I guess as best as you could, because she realized. My sister later explained, like, basically what had happened was, the dude my mom was trying to go after walked down the same hallway as the bedrooms. In Vicky mode, she's under the impression that he's giving her like a, let's go to the back bedroom. He was also going to the toilet. So he's already 4 doors past where I am and in the bathroom. And she kind of creeps up and thinks he's in that bedroom, gets in and thinks that's who she's with. And that's great and all, but when you just say, "I'm just here to get laid," and you're laying on top of your son, there's some confusing messages that get sent with that. But there it is. But so once my sister explained all that to us, my wife was not cool about it, but she was a lot more understanding about what had just taken place. And we didn't even stay the night. Like,
shit.
No fucking wait, we stayed the night.
No shit.
It's like Bates Motel in that bitch. You fucking get out.
Somebody's getting laid in there. I know that.
That's Hotel California. You know.
Oh my God.
Jesus. So we finally split. I got up collecting myself, and I looked at my then wife. I said, "Are you okay to drive?" And she's like, "I am now." Like I wasn't 5 minutes ago. But,
yeah, that'll sober.
Adrenaline does something to you. I was like, "Yeah, it does." And so we left and went home. And we didn't hear from anybody from that side of the family for probably, that was July, probably till October, and about close to Halloween, my sister contacted me and she said, we've kind of talked through things with Mom and kind of explained a lot to her, and she either didn't remember or whatever in her state. I'm gonna give a quick side story about Mom. She's I seen that picture. She's an alcoholic. She just full blown.
Yes.
She needs to go. She tries to go to rehab, fails, the whole thing. The last time I was told about her relapse, she got so drunk she called the cops on herself. She was at a bar, got there at 11 a.m., left at 9 p.m.
Holy shit.
Tried to drive herself home, made it, I think it was about a half a mile, maybe 3/4 of a mile away from the bar, pulled into a Rite Aid parking lot, called the cops, and I heard the message.
Instead of just sleeping there in the car, you could have just slept there in the car.
Not Vicky. No. She called the cops, and they played the tape back in court, because I actually went to that hearing. She, her call to the EMS, 911 or whatever it was, hey, you need to get somebody out here. There's some crazy bitch out here driving, swerving like there ain't nobody's business, and is going to kill somebody if y'all ain't careful. Well, ma'am, where is she? She just pulled off into the Rite Aid parking lot, and she's in like a gray Ford Taurus. Okay, we'll be right there. Police are on their way. Thank you. Click. The cops find Mom in the gray Ford Taurus with her seat back, passed out. They've got to bust out the window, drag her out, get her to the hospital. They take her blood. Her BAC was .19.
Holy shit. That's double.
That's more than double.
That's more than double.
That's like Belushi level. Like that's Keith Moon get you killed level.
Oh my God.
And so anyway, that was fucking one of those stories. But anyway, so sister called up. She said, whatever. Mom feels real bad about everything. She wanted to know if you guys would come for Thanksgiving. I was like, is Vicky going to be there?
Yeah, is Vicky going to be there?
Is Vicky, Maria, is Carl, is anybody else going to be there? She said, no, it's family. It's a thing. I said, let me think about it, and I'll get back with you. She said, okay. And so I talked to my wife and everything. She's like, if it's just family, okay, we'll try it. So, okay. So Mom was going to have Thanksgiving. The guy she left my dad for, she's since divorced. So she's not actually married to anybody right now that I know of, or at least a couple of years ago. But she still lives with him because he's kind of like, he's one of those like ostrich in the sand kind of people. He just sticks his head in. He don't want to know about problems. He don't care. He's loaded with money. So he just puts money in her PayPal account and she just goes nuts and spends and does whatever. So it's at his house up in the mountains north of Chattanooga. So from where I'm living at the time, it's about a 2-hour drive to that house. I want to think we were probably 5 minutes away. I get a phone call from my sister. Answer the phone. Hey, what's up?
Vicky got here. Vicky showed up before you did.
No, Veronica showed up this time. Let me tell you. She's like, where you at? I was like, GPS has us about 5 minutes away from the house. Why? Don't bother. Don't bother. Yeah, I just got a phone call from the fire chief. Mom apparently was day drinking since 9 a.m. This was like 4 or 5 in the afternoon. It's like Thanksgiving evening, so it's like 4 or 5 in the evening at that point. She's like, yeah, she started drinking at 9 this morning. She tried to cook a couple batches of Hawaiian sweet rolls and set the fucking house on fire.
No.
I was like, I'm sorry, what?
On Thanksgiving.
She's like, on Thanksgiving. I mean, fuck Carl Griswold. I mean, they ain't got nothing on this. I mean, I was like, what do you mean the house is on fire? She's like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm telling you what I'm told. I mean, she went in, had been drinking just bottles of vodka at this point. I mean, like 2 or 3 bottles in, and tried to cook Hawaiian sweet rolls. And what killed me was she put the sweet rolls in at 3:00. That's all she had cooked up at that point.
There wasn't
No green beans, no sweet potatoes,
no turkey,
nothing, no fucking
mashed
turkey.
potatoes.
No, fuck a turkey. We ain't doing that. We're getting fucking quarter pounders from McDonald's.
Oh,
We're not eating
dude.
turkey. And she's like, yeah, mama did that. She passed out on the sofa recliner. Something caught on fire, and now half the house is on fire. She said, don't bother.
All right, so let me wrap this up here because I have this question to ask you. Is the last time you saw your mom the time she had her titties out in your face? It is. Yep. That's the last time.
That is the lingering picture in my head, yes. That was it.
Poor bastard.
Because when my sister called me about Thanksgiving, I just turned around and started going back down the mountain.
Yeah, right. Why wouldn't you?
But then Mom started trying to blow up my phone, trying to talk to me, trying to do all my. It's like, nope, no, I'm not gonna do it. And I've not talked to her since because I met my now current wife, and I could not be happier. I've got a 3-year-old with her, and I made it a decision. I was like, you're not going to be around my kid. Like, you do not have your shit
Yeah, you
together.
can't
There's
be.
Nothing cannot be.
You can't
no.
be. Yeah.
Like, there's nothing about you or just that side of the family in general that is any benefit to my kid. It just isn't. And I'm not going to, I mean, good God, she's got me as a father. She's going to have enough therapy as it is when she gets older. I mean,
all she's got to do is listen to this episode. Jesus Christ, dude.
I hope by this time this episode is just dissolved and gone into history by the time she gets old enough to know what I'm talking about. And that's the thing. She's not even going to know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing. You know, and I've always wondered that about like with you and Stella. Is like with your mom, it's like
she's met my mom.
Her.
Yeah, she knows her now.
Like,
but she does. Now. She asks me about my mom when I was a kid. And I'm like, well, Grandma wasn't around. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I try to make sense of it, but when it doesn't make sense, it's hard to make sense to someone else.
Not at that age. No.
Yeah.
And even most older people that I talked to when I was in high school and trying to explain my mom, like they couldn't grasp.
Yeah, because they've never experienced that. No.
Couldn't understand like how a mother, even mom.
You've never had your mom's titties in your face? Not when you were breastfeeding? Nah. In your 20s? Nah, I haven't, man. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on and sharing this story. This is really
my pleasure.
This is, I mean, unfortunate for you and very fortunate for all of us to have heard that
man,
story.
I want to gush for just a hot minute and say, man, I've been listening to you since Crab Feast days. Loved everything you do, and there's such a service you provide doing this kind of thing for people. Because obviously I don't talk about this to a lot of people, but just be able
I wouldn't either. I would not. I wouldn't either.
No, let's keep this on the low lights. Let's just keep that in the basement where Michael lives. But no, I mean, man, you do such a work, and I don't think you really understand the greatness and just the prominence you hold in a lot of people's lives by allowing them to really vent, if nothing else. You know, I mean, I know you probably don't consider yourself like a therapist in any sense of the word, but I mean, you really kind of are. You know,
man,
I listen to a lot of even like the famous people. You know, even Tom Segura, Bert, down to Yola. People may not know about them, but it's like you let people you bare their souls and let such a weight off of themselves by just having somebody else to confide in a way. And I think that's such a tremendous mental step for a lot of people into getting recovery and getting better. Don't hide stuff. Don't keep it to yourself. No matter how shameful you think it is, don't be embarrassed. Don't be whatever. Because I promise you, even like with my story that you probably never have heard, I promise you, there's somebody else out
whose
there
mom fucked him. Whose mom actually fucked him.
Actually did.
Yeah.
Who actually got balls deep in their mom. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, thank you for saying that. It means the world to me. And if you could allow your mom to bare her tits, I can let you bare your soul. So thank you, Zech. I appreciate you coming on.
We'll have to go bear some crabs together at the Green Turtle up in Towson one day.
You know the spots, bro. You know the spots.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Man, thank you.
I want to see you in Atlanta, though.
When I book it, we got dates still coming. We got all 2022. I'm coming.
Not Pants Nation, baby.
Thank you, brother. And thank all of you out there as well. Again, if you're in for the long haul, sign up for a year. You get over a month free. If you've got that story that has to be told, please submit it to honeydewpodcast@gmail.com. And thank you all for your support. Come see me on tour. Get your tickets at ryansickler.com. Talk to y'all next week.